Welcome to this explainer. I'm really thrilled you're tuning in today. We're looking at something every single business leader needs to hear, a crucial reality check about your data, your operations, and your backup security. We're talking about the business fire drill. So buckle up because we're going to shatter some very common and very expensive illusions that might be hiding in your company right now. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's executive briefing. 1. The backup reality check. 2. 4 expensive backup assumptions. 3. The real cost of downtime. And 4. The business fire drill.
Starting right off with Section 1, the backup reality check.
You know, there's that classic Mike Tyson quote, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." And man, that is so incredibly true for business continuity. In our world, that punch doesn't happen in a boxing ring. It usually comes in the form of a failed backup, a random network outage, or a security incident that suddenly exposes a weakness nobody even knew was there. You might think your data plan is rock solid, but until you take that hit, it's really just a theory. Think back to when you were in grade school. When the fire alarm went off, nobody stopped in the hallway to form a committee and figure out what to do next, right? You just lined up, the teachers guided everyone to the exits, and there was zero panic because, well, you'd practiced it. You'd done it before. Your business backups need to work exactly the same way. That brings us to our definition of the business fire drill. It's the practice of testing your backup recovery before an emergency actually hits, so your team knows precisely what to do without panicking. Because if your plan is broken, you absolutely want to find out during a calm drill, not during a raging fire. Moving right along to Section 2, 4 expensive backup assumptions. All right, assumption number 1 is that simple, comfortable belief, we're backed up. As leaders, we absolutely love seeing those IT reports with the nice green check marks. But I've got to tell you, those check marks are a massive illusion if you haven't actually tested the restore process. Just knowing a backup exists is completely different from knowing how long a recovery will take, or if every critical file is actually in there. The most dangerous backup in your entire business is the one you've never tested. Having an untested backup is literally like driving around with a spare tire in your trunk. You feel totally secure for years, only to get a blowout on a rainy highway, pop the trunk, and realize the spare is completely flat. It's utterly useless when you're stranded. A backup only proves its actual value when it successfully gets your business back up and running. Then there's assumption number 2. Someone would tell us if there was a problem. Look, you might be spending top dollar on the latest IT monitoring tools, and they'll definitely send you instant alerts. But confusing detection with protection, that's a highly expensive mistake. It's kind of like a weather app sending you a hurricane warning. The alert is great, but it doesn't automatically board up your windows or move your family to safety. A monitoring tool just tells you something is wrong. What happens after that alert goes off is entirely up to you. Now let's look at assumption number 3. Our team knows what to do. Let me just paint a quick picture for you. It's 4:30 p.m. on a Friday, and a critical system suddenly drops offline. If you haven't practiced, nobody agrees on who's actually in charge. Nobody knows what to fix first. Even the absolute best IT teams are going to dissolve into chaos, because without a documented and tested plan, they're essentially starting from zero. The real chaos of an outage rarely comes from the technical disruption itself. It almost always comes from the team simply not knowing what step to take next. And that brings us to the 4th and maybe the most common assumption: it won't happen to us. When you're laser focused on business growth, keeping customers happy, and moving the needle, it is so incredibly easy to trick yourself into thinking that severe disruptions only happen to the other guys. But man, that is a dangerous blind spot. Because disruptions aren't usually these dramatic, headline-making cyber warfare events. The reality is way more mundane. We're talking about an employee accidentally clicking a bad link in a phishing email, a sudden localized power outage, or literally just a vital piece of server hardware giving out after 5 hard years. In our experience, the punches that actually catch you off guard are these ordinary events that happen on a random Wednesday when absolutely nobody is expecting them.
Which leads us to Section 3, the real cost of downtime.
You see, a technical failure instantly becomes a business crisis. An IT system goes down. That's not just a blinking red light in the server room. It means your customer service lines are just ringing out. Data becomes inaccessible, your payroll processing grinds to a total halt. Network goes offline, customer orders just pile up untouched. And when that recovery has never been tested, a fix that should have taken 2 hours easily stretches to 6 or even days. You've got employees sitting idle, leadership pacing the halls demanding updates that nobody can provide, and customer trust walking right out the door. So I really want you to pause right here and ask yourself this crucial question. Will our backup actually work when we need it?
Because if you skip testing your recovery, you're relying entirely on assumptions at the exact moment your business can least afford to be wrong. You're basically placing a massive bet on a system you've never even seen perform under pressure.
All right, Section 4, the business fire drill.
So, how do we fix this? Running a business fire drill is highly practical. First, you actually execute a restore from your backups into a safe environment. Second, you time the recovery, literally clock exactly how many minutes or hours it takes. Third, you identify system priority, meaning you figure out which servers and apps absolutely must come back online first to keep the lights on. And fourth, you actively look for what breaks, so you can find the gaps. You want to expose these weaknesses in a controlled environment, way before a real incident ever happens. The whole point here is that testing gives you absolute certainty. It answers the big questions. Will the restore actually work the way you think it will? How many hours is this going to take? Which systems are mission critical? And perhaps most importantly, can your team keep working during the recovery, or does everything just grind to a halt? Let me tell you, discovering the answers to these questions during a scheduled, controlled test is infinitely better than scrambling to figure them out while your business is losing money in an actual crisis.
So here is the action step to take away from this. Don't wait for an emergency to learn if your plan holds up. Schedule a brief 10-minute discovery call to map out and test your plans. This tiny investment of time delivers a concrete result. You'll know exactly where your business stands, expose those hidden weaknesses early, and ensure your livelihood is actually protected.
I want to leave you with this final lingering thought. When an outage hits, and it will you be executing a practiced plan or inventing one under pressure? The choice is entirely in your hands right now. You have the power to turn a potential disaster into a minor, manageable hiccup just by preparing today. So take charge, challenge those dangerous assumptions, and run your business fire drill. You've got this. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.